Who are you? It's a question that, while simple, doesn't cease to terrorize. Go back to the first time you had to introduce yourself. Maybe your first day at school. Until then, you had guardians who would create, assign, and protect your identity. You were their child, you were this many years old, you recently did this or that. But suddenly you're exposed, suddenly you have to create and protect this identity by yourself. Some things you can repeat. Your name, your age, where you're from. But is that really it? Is that all you are? If you were lucky, maybe by that point you had a skill or a hobby that you were proud of. Maybe a favorite color or a song. But that wasn't really enough. Either way, you became surrounded by other people who had names and ages and favorite colors and sports too. You were not so unique anymore. With time, new descriptors appeared. Wealth, strength, intelligence, height, charisma, the list goes on. As you kept growing, the world kept growing around you, reminding you at every opportunity that if you slowed down, it wouldn't look back. The moment that comes to mind for me was a certain dinner. It was something like an after party after an auction that I helped organize. We reached the restaurant, sat down, settled in, ordered, and then the question appeared again. Who are you? How do you want me to answer that? How do you want me to condense decades into a sentence? How do I describe who I am to you using words when a book wouldn't be enough to cover it? Do you really think I'm that simple? Any real answer would require completely different circumstances. They clearly didn't want to understand me. But either way, I couldn't really avoid it. I had to answer somehow. It was a social obligation. It was just social norm to ask those sorts of questions. The issue is that that social game has winners and losers. I was surrounded by people with more wealth, experience, status, and confidence than I had. Choosing any descriptor that would allow for comparison was not an option. I couldn't be a student or a freelancer. I didn't have a title that I could hide behind in this confrontation. So I went back to default. I gave them my name and the name of my father, who they knew. The only things that would allow the other person to deepen their understanding of me and place me within their informational net without putting me at an inherent disadvantage. It was a deflection. I didn't want to give them anything that would allow them to measure me. But that turned out to be a mistake. I didn't ask about your father, I asked about you. The deflection itself was targeted. To be honest, I think it still might have been the best outcome. Their interest quickly dissipated after that and they moved on. Since I couldn't win the encounter anyway, maybe this was the right choice. But either way, the experience stings. Recently I was approached after a recording. I was asked who I was and what was I doing. I explained that I had a sort of a challenge. How I record something every day, I find different topics, I explained what that day's topic was, and then when asked to, I shared my channel. But revealing all of that information, that hurt too. I mean, how could it not? Hours of daily effort spent screaming out into the void, hoping for some sort of acknowledgement, hoping that maybe one day it will respond. How does one not feel pathetic saying that out loud? Before I started preparing for this video, I tried to solve my location problem. I would like to record every video at a unique location, but the conditions that I need to fulfill for that are pretty strict. It has to be an interesting place with public access, not too loud, without too much foot traffic, and without other people that I could disturb. So far, I've been doing okay. I found outdoor spaces with interesting and unique backgrounds, but the issue is winter is coming. Within a few days, the temperatures will drop as low as 1 degree Celsius. And while I am relatively resistant to cold, I don't think I can handle the minus 20 degree weather that is coming later on in winter. I likely won't be able to record outdoors for much longer. The solution is simple. I need to start recording indoors. But simple is not the same as easy. Public spaces are mostly outdoors or transportation infrastructure. Transport infrastructure has the obvious downsides of high foot traffic and industrial noise, which you can't really avoid. While most indoor areas are privately owned, there are no rights or laws that would allow me to freely use them. The remaining areas, such as tunnels or underpasses, rarely offer the lighting, heating, and noise isolation that is required for recording. There are semi-public spaces like cafes, gyms, libraries, but to be honest, they're not that reliable, nor are they very unique. In the end, the only way to solve this issue is to increase the quantity of eligible locations. If I want to maintain the quality and diversity, I will inevitably have to record on private property. Places like shopping malls, food courts, museums, hotels, office spaces, and other facilities. But how do I get access to those places? Well, it all wraps back to identity. If I had the foundation of skills, fame, connections, reputation, I could trade those in. I could offer benefits to the host and also minimize any worries they might have about the consequences of letting me record. But that's not my identity. My identity is that of a nobody newcomer. I have no reputation to speak of. I have nothing to prove that I won't be an obstacle to their business. I have nothing to guarantee the safety of their brand. And I definitely don't have anything to offer like exposure or potentially introducing them to a new client base. So the nobody newcomer. That's my identity. That's what I have to work with. And it's with that identity that I will have to push my way through. Our identity follows us everywhere, whether we want it to or not. The only way to stop it from continuing its rampage is through subjugation. One day, when the dreaded question returns, I will be able to face it head on. Not by hiding or responding to the other side's expectations with some sort of clever metamorphosis, but by standing firm. A true identity is not a demon chasing you since childhood. It's a form that you forge for yourself, one that cares not about what surrounds and assails it. It's exactly that sort of form that I want to eventually have, an independent way of being, an independent identity.